It has only taken Rockstar about 3 years to finally give the upgrade to PC players that consoles got for GTA 5. About 10-ish days ago, you can see on March 4th, they introduced the Grand Theft Auto Enhanced Edition on PC. Well, in today's video, I actually want to go over why this new edition, this enhanced edition of GTA 5 on PC specifically, shows us actually quite a bit about GTA 6. Rockstar may have hidden some things in this new edition, and that is what we're going to be taking a look at in today's video. So if you were like me, you were probably thinking, all right, cool, PC players finally got the same, edition that the console players got 3 years ago, but that's actually not the case. This new edition on PC is actually slightly better than the console edition simply because of the better hardware. Here are a couple of comparisons from the PS5 Pro edition with fidelity mode on and the new edition on PC with the ray tracing and everything included. And you can see, well, look, the PS5 definitely looks pretty good compared to what we originally had. The PC version actually has much better ray tracing. And like in this particular example, it's not even close. On the PS5, I don't even know if there is ray tracing, but on the PC version on the right, you can see all of that ambient light from the sun bouncing off everything. That is, in essence, what ray tracing is. And here's another example with just reflections. You don't really get really good reflections on the PS5 Pro. On PC, it's almost, 1-in-1. And then here's the final example just with some more of that ambient lighting, bouncing around. And all of these examples are coming from the latest video from Digital Foundry, who, if you don't know who they are, I'll leave a link to their video in the description. They basically talk about like the nerdy hardware sort of stuff in video games. They are very informative on that sort of stuff. So if you want the much more detailed explanation of a lot of this stuff, again, link to that video will be in the description below. But as we just saw, the PC version, even though it's in essence the same upgrade, it actually has some newer features, some better features from the consoles. And again, that's because of the hardware. The PlayStation 5 and even the Xbox Series X just don't have the hardware capable of doing the ray tracing like we see on PC. And here are actually just some more examples that I took in game just to showcase what ray tracing in essence is. This is an example at night just with a bunch of different colors on this parking garage, and you can see on the left, that's where ray tracing's off. You don't get any of those colors bouncing off anywhere. On the right, you actually do see all of those other colors. You see the yellows, the blues, the greens, a little bit of the purple. So basically, ray tracing anything that is a light source will produce light like you would see in real life. Here's another example actually at nighttime with just headlights. And this one's actually such a good example. If you look at the top of the screen, like the underpass, on the left, none of that is lit up by the headlights. But on the right, all of it is lit up. It's very subtle, but it is bouncing off of all of the surfaces and lighting up that underside of the freeway, which again is what would happen in real life. And on the left, that's not happening. It is very noticeable during the day, at least in GTA 5. In this particular example, I mean, it's almost like a new game. On the left, with it off, everything just looks so flat, so boring. The shadows are this gray blue color, like it just looks old. On the right, look how beautiful it looks. You with the warm glow of the sun bouncing off of everything. You can see the reflection of the street. I don't know if a car goes by, but you can actually see cars and stuff go by in the shadows. It looks great. Here's another example. You get so much more detail with ray tracing on because it's not just a black and white sort of image, right? There's all this middle ground with the ambient light, and you can actually see the details on the tiles. And again, with this particular example, I didn't even know these tiles were orange, and I didn't know there were these little mini tiles on the wall because you never had ray tracing before in GTA 5, at least on PC. Now, when you turn ray tracing on, it's almost like a whole different building. And here is another example. Now, this just goes to show how bad some of the reflections and stuff were. So obviously, ray tracing on, you can see it's almost a 1-to-1 reflection. Everything is good. You can even see Michael in the reflection. We're going to go ahead and turn ray tracing off, and look how bad that looks. Like, yeah, okay, that's a 2013 game. I don't even know what's happening to this middle part thing that's just like going back and forth. It's just random. It's so weird. You can't see the cars in the reflection. The buildings are even just like these low poly versions of themselves. But again, we're going to go ahead and turn ray tracing on, and look at that. Everything almost looks flawless. There's a weird like lighting thing, which is, I don't know why that's happening, but everything else is almost flawless. The reflections, you can see the cars going by, the flags are even flapping in the reflection. So ray tracing makes a huge difference. And here's just the final example that I got. You can see just in this glass window, you can see in the reflection with ray tracing on, you can see the trees, the car, the GQ bus, or whatever truck behind me in the reflection. It looks really good. We turn it off, and that's where the age of the game shows. Everything's low poly. Half the reflections don't even show up. You can't see Michael. It just looks bad. Even the shadows are all dull and stuff. But we turn it back on, everything looks pretty modern. So why am I bringing this up? Well, one of the examples that was actually brought up in that Digital Foundry video was that every single light source is globally illuminated. And that is usually not something that is done to these older games that end up getting ray tracing. There's been some older games, I think Witcher, Doom was an example they brought up in the original video. When developers go ahead and put ray tracing in these older games, they do it in a very easy way where like only the sun gets the global illumination, the ray tracing. But in GTA 5 on PC, this 12-year-old game, every single light source gets it. And that's what's shown off here in this screenshot. These smaller lights are actually getting it as well. And that is a very time-consuming and relatively hard thing to do for, developers, right? So the big question is why? Why did they do this only for PC? Because as we've shown, the console versions of GTA 5 don't actually have this. So why would they go through the time and effort and all of that to make this ray tracing for this 12-year-old game so good and so well done? The answer, more than likely, is because this is what you're going to see in GTA 6. They took what they worked on for GTA 6 and backported it into GTA 5. Maybe to test some things, maybe to give people a little tease at what's to come. I'm not entirely sure the reason, but that is the most likely scenario. So what we're actually seeing on PC is a little taste of what's to come in GTA 6. And again, a lot of this stuff we did see in trailer 1, like especially with Lucia in that intro scene when she's in the jail. You can see the reflection of the sun bouncing off of her shirt, and then that orange is bouncing off of the bed on the right. It's also bouncing off of her face. So that level of ray tracing they basically took and backported it into GTA 5, which is kind of neat because that means if you are on PC and you have access to this and you have a computer good enough to run all of this, well, you can get an idea of what GTA 6 will sort of look like. It's not exactly the same because again, there's a 12-year-old game. All of the textures, the models and all that, they're very old, but at least lighting wise, you can get a really good idea. And I actually want to bring up another point why this is a GTA 6 feature backported. If they really just had people working on this ray tracing only for PC, why did they stop there? Like what you're seeing now is what a single modder has done in GTA 5 as far as graphics go. I would almost say they're even better than the expanded version of the game, especially with the clouds, the volumetric clouds, and just the lighting and stuff. It just looks really, really good. Now, yeah, you do need a great PC to run this at a stable frame rate, but if a single guy can make something like this, you're telling me, this billion-dollar company, if they are really trying to make PC, this expanded edition, to be like the end-all be-all edition of GTA 5, why not go even further than just the ray trace stuff? Why not add the volumetric clouds from RDR2? Why not add some of the features that these modders have done? And again, that's more than likely because they didn't do any of that. They literally just took what people worked on for GTA 6 and added it to GTA 5. Now, how that brings us to the main, the title of this video, 30 FPS, that is the downside. In this clip, this is just a clip I took on PC on the expanded edition. I have a 3090 graphics card and a 9800X 3D CPU. one of the best CPUs you can get for gaming. And I was barely getting over 60 FPS with everything turned on. And I think what was said in the Digital Foundry video, which again linked in the description if you want to check it out, sums it up pretty nicely. So take a listen.
So while RTGI is relatively light on the GPU, it is far heavier on the CPU side and is much more limiting as a result. Regarding GTA 6, this is also an interesting data point. If a console-level CPU like the Ryzen 5 3600 cannot manage 60 FPS with ray tracing on a game that is 12 years old, how exactly could it manage 60 FPS with a world that is a magnitude more dense with ray tracing in GTA 6? The answer is that it is not very likely to be the case.
So unfortunately, I know there were some people out there that were still hoping that somehow Rockstar could squeeze 60 FPS out of GTA 6, but it really doesn't look like that's going to happen on the consoles. Maybe on the PS6, in 3 years, whenever that comes out. But at launch on the PS5 Pro, the Xbox Series X, this game will run at 30 FPS. GTA 6 will run at 30 FPS. Maybe they can squeeze out a 40 FPS, because I've read apparently 40 FPS, even though it's only a 10 FPS difference between 40 and 30, it feels way, way smoother. If anyone's on console, you can let us know if you've maybe tested with that. But if GTA 5, a 12-year-old game, can barely run at 60 FPS with this new ray tracing on a pretty powerful gaming PC, then the consoles really stand no chance with GTA 6, a much, much, much newer game with all the density like he mentioned, and obviously we've seen in trailer 1. And honestly, look, that just makes sense for Rockstar's business. They're going to do the exact same thing they did with GTA 5, where they release it on, maybe the subpar experience on the latest consoles. At the time, it was the PS3 and Xbox 360. Then, maybe a year or so later, that's when they'll release it for the PC. And then whenever the PS6 and whatever Xbox edition comes out after that, they'll re-release it a third time so all the console people can upgrade and play with similar hardware that PC people will have. Because even though we're in 2025, the hardware that is being used in the consoles today, they came out, in like 2019, 2020? So they're already very dated. And it's kind of amazing if Rockstar can even pull off a 40 FPS mode on what we've seen of GTA 6 on these really old hardware consoles. But you should not be expecting 60 FPS at all. I don't even think it's going to come close to 60 FPS, which for some was probably expected, but for the other people that were hopeful, after this GTA 5 expanded stuff, it's just not looking likely at all. So that is it for today's GTA 6 video. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy, subscribe for more GTA 6 content, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.